Welcome, beautiful damsels. The scariest monsters are the ones that smile and say nothing. It's not always the loudest person in the room that commands attention. Sometimes it's the one who sits back quietly, observing, dismantling egos without lifting a finger. Sigma females don't roar to be heard. They whisper, and somehow the whole room leans in. Here's a fun fact. Studies show that people are more intimidated by those who remain calm during conflicts than by aggressive personalities. Now imagine someone who operates this way all the time, cool, collected, and terrifyingly unbothered. Sigma females aren't out to instill fear, but their effortless independence, unwavering confidence, and refusal to play by social scripts tend to rattle even the most secure individuals. It's not personal, it's just how they operate. But let's be honest. If you're sweating a little already, that's probably not a coincidence. Number 1. Efficient coldness. When a Sigma female decides to cut someone off, it's swift, precise, and without fanfare. There are no dramatic speeches, no drawn-out arguments, just silence where connection used to be. One day you're in their world, the next, you're standing outside wondering what happened. And the most unsettling part? They don't owe you an explanation. This isn't fueled by anger or spite, it's a calculated move rooted in self-preservation. Sigma females understand that dragging out relationships that no longer serve them is wasted energy. They don't see the need to entertain closure for the sake of appearances or comfort. If someone crosses a line, that's it. There's no second guessing, no let's talk about this over coffee. Their boundaries are final, and once breached, there's no way back in. People aren't used to this level of detachment. We live in a world where passive-aggressive texts and lingering social media likes stretch the ghost of a relationship long after it's ended. Sigma females don't play that game. They vanish from your life in a way that feels surgical, quick, clean, and irreversible. What unnerves people the most is the absence of emotional messiness. There are no lingering resentments because they've already moved on. This efficiency in ending things leaves others grappling for closure that will never come. It forces reflection. Was it something you did, or were you simply irrelevant to their path forward? There's a certain coldness to it, but it's not cruel, it's clarity. Sigma females don't leave loose ends because they're too focused on what's ahead. And if you weren't part of that vision, you'll know, because you'll feel it long after they're gone. Number 2. Psychological mirror effect. Being around a Sigma female can feel like standing in front of a mirror that strips away all pretense. She doesn't try to expose people's insecurities. She just exists in a way that makes them impossible to ignore. Her quiet confidence, independence, and refusal to seek approval highlight the cracks in those who rely on external validation. The unsettling part is that this reflection isn't confrontational. Sigma females rarely point out flaws directly. Instead, their natural way of moving through the world triggers something internal in others. When someone sees her thriving alone, unapologetically authentic, it draws attention to the ways they've compromised themselves to fit in. This contrast can be uncomfortable, even threatening. People often project their frustrations onto her, mistaking her reserved nature for arrogance or judgment. In reality, she's not even thinking about them. She's too focused on her own path. But that lack of attention can feel like rejection to those who crave recognition. It's not that she looks down on others, she simply doesn't look at them at all in the way they expect. The most profound part of this psychological mirror effect is that it's passive. Sigma females don't manipulate or play mind games. Their very presence forces others to confront parts of themselves they've been avoiding. This can create tension without a word being spoken. Some respect her for it, feeling inspired to step into their own authenticity. Others feel defensive, misinterpreting her calm as indifference. Either way, the effect is the same. She reveals what's hidden beneath the surface, whether people are ready to face it or not. Number 3. Purposeful fragmentation of identity. A Sigma female is like a puzzle no one has all the pieces to. She's not hiding. She simply doesn't hand out her entire self to anyone. Different people see different aspects of her personality, carefully selected based on the dynamic of that relationship. To colleagues, she might be sharp and calculated, while close friends experience her warmth and humor. Acquaintances catch glimpses of charm or indifference, depending on the day. Yet, no one ever feels like they fully know her, and that's by design. This isn't about deception or manipulation. It's about boundaries and self-preservation. Sigma females understand the value of privacy in a world obsessed with oversharing. By fragmenting their identity, they protect their core from being overexposed or diluted by unnecessary interactions. People assume they know who she is, but deep down they sense there's more they haven't seen, creating an air of intrigue that's hard to shake. The fragmentation makes her presence feel expansive, as if she exists on multiple levels that shift depending on who's watching. This can be unsettling for those who crave consistency. Humans like to categorize and predict behavior, but Sigma females refuse to be boxed in. Just when someone feels like they've figured her out, she reveals a side they never expected, keeping them perpetually on edge. The result is a sense of mystery that lingers long after she leaves the room. People replay conversations, searching for clues about who she really is. But the truth is simple. She's all of those facets and more. You might catch a glimpse, but the full picture? That's something she keeps for herself. Number 4. Intense calibration of responses. A Sigma female's ability to adapt her energy to match her surroundings is not performative, it's tactical. She doesn't shift to blend in, but to observe and assess, adjusting her presence in a way that subtly alters the atmosphere without drawing attention to herself. In one setting, she might be quiet and reserved, while in another, she exudes sharp confidence. This fluidity leaves people second-guessing which version of her is real, and the ambiguity is unsettling. Her energy calibration is rooted in self-awareness and control. She senses the social undercurrents of a room, intuitively knowing when to dominate and when to disappear. This ability often shifts the power dynamic without confrontation. People find themselves mirroring her tone or softening their approach, unsure why they suddenly feel the need to recalibrate their own behavior. It's a quiet, psychological ripple effect. What unnerves others the most is that her adaptability isn't driven by insecurity or a desire to be liked. There's no desperation in her shifts, only precision. This makes her difficult to predict and impossible to manipulate. Someone trying to challenge her might be met with indifference, while another pushing vulnerability might encounter unexpected warmth. The inconsistency keeps people guessing, creating a lingering sense that they can't fully grasp who she is or what she's thinking. This ability isn't deception. It's a reflection of the Sigma female's complexity. She contains multitudes, and those who mistake her adaptability for a lack of authenticity misunderstand the game entirely. She's not pretending to be anyone else. She's simply showing you the version of herself that fits the moment, leaving you to wonder how many more sides exist beneath the surface. Number 5. Subversive loyalty. A Sigma female's loyalty operates on a different frequency. While most people tie their allegiance to individuals, friends, partners, mentors, she ties hers to principles. It's not about personal attachment, but about alignment with the values she holds sacred. As long as someone walks in step with those values, she stands by them. But the moment they drift, she quietly steps away, often without a word of warning. What makes this unnerving is the lack of drama or confrontation. Sigma females don't believe in grand exits or long speeches about betrayal. They simply detach, leaving the other person to wonder why the connection suddenly feels distant. It's not out of malice or coldness, it's a form of self-respect. She won't compromise her core beliefs to maintain relationships that no longer reflect them. This creates a rare form of accountability. Those who are used to unquestioning loyalty find themselves off balance, realizing that their bond with her was conditional, not in the petty sense, but in a deeper, unspoken agreement of integrity. Her withdrawal forces reflection. Was it something they did, or did they drift so far from their values that she could no longer recognize them? Sigma females aren't interested in policing others. They simply refuse to remain close to anyone who contradicts the ideals they live by. This selective loyalty makes their presence feel valuable, yet fragile. People understand that the relationship exists not because it has to, but because it aligns with something bigger. And when that alignment cracks, The Sigma female doesn't stick around hoping for repair. She lets the distance grow, trusting that if the values realign, the connection will naturally find its way back. If not, she walks forward, without resentment, but without looking back. Number 6, boundary fluidity. Sigma. Females treat boundaries as living, breathing things, subject to change as they evolve. What they tolerate today might become non-negotiable tomorrow, and what once seemed off-limits may later be fair ground. This fluidity isn't random or inconsistent. It's a direct reflection of their personal growth and self-awareness. But to others, this shifting landscape can feel disorienting, like trying to navigate a map that's constantly being redrawn. The reason this unsettles people is simple. Most expect boundaries to be static. In traditional relationships, lines are drawn early and rarely revisited. With Sigma females, there's no such luxury. Their boundaries are a direct extension of who they are at any given moment, and as they shed old layers, their limits adjust accordingly. A behavior they once overlooked may suddenly feel intolerable, and the people around them are left wondering when the rules changed. This unpredictability forces constant self-checking in relationships. People feel compelled to stay hyper-aware of their actions, unsure if they're stepping too close or too far away. While this can foster respect, it can also create a sense of imbalance. The Sigma female's boundaries aren't about controlling others, but about protecting her ever-shifting sense of identity. She has no interest in explaining these shifts. Her evolution is personal, and she expects those in her life to adapt or naturally fall away. Ultimately, this fluidity filters out those who can't handle change. The Sigma female isn't static, and neither are the relationships she maintains. To stay in her orbit, one must accept that what feels safe today may require recalibration tomorrow. It's not a test. It's the reality of being connected to someone who's in a constant state of becoming. Number 7, unsentimental memory. Sigma females are like vaults when it comes to memory. They recall details, conversations, and even the smallest gestures with razor-sharp precision. But while others may romanticize the past, layering it with nostalgia, Sigma females don't attach unnecessary emotion to what's behind them. To some, this detachment feels cold, even unnatural, especially in a culture that thrives on reminiscing and using shared memories to deepen bonds. The unsettling part is that this isn't forgetfulness or indifference. The Sigma female remembers exactly what was said 5 years ago at that dinner, but she's not interested in reliving it. Her focus is forward-facing, grounded in the present and what lies ahead. Relationships that rely heavily on the good old days often fall flat with her, as she sees little value in clinging to moments that no longer serve her growth. This unsentimental approach forces others to confront their own dependency on the past. People often expect shared memories to act as glue in relationships, but with Sigma females, it isn't enough. The present version of a person matters far more than their history together. Those who assume that past kindness, loyalty, or shared experiences guarantee future closeness are often left feeling exposed when they realize it holds no weight with her. This trait filters out relationships rooted in comfort rather than genuine connection. Sigma females seek alignment in the now, not echoes of what once was. For them, memory is a tool, not an emotional crutch. Those who can adapt to this mindset find themselves challenged to stay present and grow alongside her. Those who can't are left grappling with a past that, to her, is nothing more than a mental note filed away for reference, not reverence. Number 8, absence of passive aggression. Sigma. Females have little patience for the games that come with passive aggression. They don't drop hints, sulk in silence, or weaponize politeness to make a point. If something needs to be said, they say it, clearly, calmly, and without unnecessary embellishment. This directness doesn't stem from cruelty, but from efficiency. Why dance around a problem when addressing it head-on saves time and energy? This trait disarms people who rely on passive-aggressive tactics to express dissatisfaction. Passive aggression thrives in environments where confrontation is avoided. But Sigma females dismantle this dynamic by refusing to engage in it. They either address the issue outright or walk away from it entirely, leaving no room for hidden resentment to fester. The absence of passive aggression exposes weaknesses in others who depend on subtle digs or emotional games to feel in control. Sigma females aren't interested in deciphering veiled comments or guessing someone's feelings. If someone can't communicate directly, they're met with indifference or blunt questions that force the issue into the open. This makes many uncomfortable because it strips away the protective layer that passive aggression provides, revealing insecurity beneath. While some may interpret this directness as intimidating, it's actually a form of respect. Sigma females believe people deserve honesty, even if it's uncomfortable. They expect the same in return, fostering relationships built on clarity rather than suppressed frustrations. However, this no-nonsense approach creates a natural divide. Those who value transparency thrive, while those who rely on indirect methods often drift away. In the end, Sigma females don't see passive aggression as a challenge. To them, it's noise, easy to tune out, easy to confront, and ultimately powerless in the presence of someone who refuses to play along. Number 9. Delight in controlled discomfort. Sigma. Females are not uncomfortable with discomfort. If anything, they thrive in it. They understand that awkwardness can be a powerful tool, and they're not quick to dissolve tension when it arises. Where most people rush to smooth over silences or ease social friction, Sigma females hold their ground, letting the discomfort play out naturally. This unflinching attitude often feels predatory to those who rely on constant reassurance or small talk to navigate social spaces. The key is that Sigma females aren't awkward themselves. They're perfectly at ease, watching from the sidelines as others squirm under the weight of unspoken words or lingering pauses. It's not malicious, they simply have no interest in coddling people's discomfort. By allowing situations to breathe, they reveal how much of social interaction is driven by avoidance rather than genuine connection. This trait can feel unsettling as it strips away the usual masks people wear in uncomfortable moments. When someone feels awkward, they often project that feeling outward, assuming everyone else must feel the same. But when faced with a Sigma female who seems almost amused by the tension, that projection falls flat. The result is an imbalance of control. She holds steady while others falter, unsure how to break the awkwardness without her participation. In group settings, this often shifts dynamics without words. People naturally gravitate toward filling the void she leaves, exposing their anxieties in the process. This ability to remain unfazed while others unravel grants Sigma females a quiet dominance in social environments. Those who can't handle the weight of their own discomfort may walk away feeling vulnerable, while she remains unaffected, quietly observing the chaos she never had to create. Number 10. Lack of narrative. Most people construct personal narratives, stories about their past, achievements, and struggles, to shape how the world perceives them. These narratives provide comfort and identity, anchoring people to a sense of self that others can easily understand. Sigma females, however, don't play this game. They reject the need to fit into a tidy storyline, leaving others grasping for ways to categorize them. This absence of a crafted narrative makes them feel enigmatic, almost untethered. Without the usual markers, grand personal anecdotes, career-defining moments, or elaborate tales of hardship, Sigma females become difficult to read. People expect patterns and predictable arcs, but with Sigma females, the story feels incomplete, as if key chapters are missing. This lack of context leaves others unsure how to connect, forcing them to interact in the present without the safety net of a shared narrative. It's not that Sigma females lack experiences or depth. They simply see no value in parading their personal history for validation or sympathy. They understand that identities shift, and clinging to past versions of themselves limits growth. While others feel the need to explain who they are through stories, Sigma females let their actions speak louder, embracing the fluidity of identity without apology. This confuses people who crave labels and familiarity. In a society obsessed with storytelling, those who refuse to participate stand out, not because they're louder, but because their silence leaves gaps that others struggle to fill. This forces people to confront them as they are now, not as the sum of their past. For many, that's uncomfortable. For the Sigma female, it's just reality. In the end, Sigma females are a paradox in motion, both a force and a mystery. Their power lies not in loud declarations, but in the subtle mastery of self that leaves an indelible mark on those who encounter them. They don't need to dominate the room, because they've already dominated their own world. Whether through the surgical precision of their words, the lack of a fixed narrative that makes them unknowable, or the discomfort they willingly let others sit in, they create an atmosphere where personal evolution becomes inevitable. Their complexity and unpredictability aren't weaknesses, they are the very essence of their strength. For those who cross their path, these traits can feel both liberating and unnerving, offering a stark reflection of the world's tendency to cling to comfort and predictability. Sigma females teach us that real power doesn't come from conforming to others' expectations, but from the quiet confidence of being unapologetically yourself. In a society that loves labels and stories, they are the living embodiment of the truth that identity isn't a fixed thing. It's fluid, evolving, and ultimately, in their hands, transformative. To be around a Sigma female is to face an invitation. To stop clinging to your own comfort zones, to drop your assumptions, and to recognize that the best version of yourself may not be the one you've been telling yourself about for years. She doesn't just exist in the world. She shifts it gently, powerfully, and with a level of control that only those who truly understand themselves can achieve. And whether you admire her, fear her, or feel challenged by her, one thing remains certain. She leaves you questioning what you thought you knew about yourself. If you found this exploration of Sigma females intriguing and insightful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more thought-provoking content. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with anyone who needs to hear this. Let's keep the conversation going. Wishing you all a happy new year filled with growth, clarity, and new perspectives. See you in the next one. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.